Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the what's next on Hot Rod Kalajdzic, Radovoj Kalajdzic, the former world title challenger at light heavyweight, following a hard-fought decision loss to David Morrell Jr. when they collided on the Riyadh season supercard on August 3rd that was main evented by Terrence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight with Hot Rod and Morrell was a good one. You know, I think a lot of people were assuming that Morrell was going to blast right through Hot Rod. And people not knowing Hot Rod's name that well, really, you know, gave that impression. I personally thought Morrell was going to move up and look better than he did. But I think it speaks to moving up in weight, Morrell's inexperience, and also Hot Rod being a crafty veteran. And after the first couple rounds, when Morrell was really putting it on Hot Rod, you know, Kalajdzic really found his footing in the fight, and he found a rhythm. You know, and he was able to stay in the fight. He was actually, you know, was winning rounds. And it went to the scorecards where a lot of people, you know, were, a lot of people thought that he was in the fight, and it was close enough to call either way. I think they got it right with Morrell winning. But Morrell had to dig deeper and fight harder than he was expecting. And Hot Rod ended up proving to be a much tougher opponent than Morrell and a lot of people were expecting. So it was a good win for him. And now the big question is, or it was a good win for Morrell, but it was a good performance for Hot Rod after so many years out of the spotlight, because Hot Rod really hadn't been anything significant or being really even discussed since his title shot against Artur Beterbiev back in, like, I think that was like 2018 or 2019 when he got wasted against Beterbiev in 5 rounds. So, you know, so for the fact that he was even in this fight, you know, and getting an opportunity like this was a big deal. But again, I think a lot of people thought we were going to see kind of an equal performance, and he put on a good one. So, so moving forward, you know, we're going to run through the top 10 and see what could possibly be coming up for Hot Rod. But at this point in his career, being an older fighter, being a veteran, coming off a loss, it's always tough to gauge what a fighter will do. But I really think being a gatekeeper at this point is not such a bad thing. I think he's competitive enough and good enough to where even if at some point he were to get another title shot, you know, he would be, of course, he'd probably be an underdog, but maybe be of a believable underdog to pull off an upset. But I still think he's got something in the tank, and I'd like to see him give it one last run at something, especially on a big card like he was in. So let's see what could be possible. We start with a rematch with Beterbiev. That's not going to happen. Win or lose for Beterbiev against Bivol, it's not really going to matter, you know, because he's probably going to go in there and it really, Beterbiev's not going to be interested in a rematch. You know, Hot Rod's not a big name. If Beterbiev wins, of course, there's no chance. But if he loses, what for? So I don't see this one. Then there's Dimitri Bivol. You know, it's one of those ones where if Bivol were to lose, would he come back against a guy like Hot Rod? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of hard to gauge if Bivol were to lose. If he beats Beterbiev to become undisputed champ, there's no chance a fight with Hot Rod happens. But if he were to lose that fight, I mean, anything's possible, but it's so hard to gauge if a fighter loses, especially a fight of that magnitude that's going to be going down between Bivol and Beterbiev for undisputed. And you got David Benavidez. I don't think Benavidez is going to fight the loser of Morrell and Hot Rod. He doesn't even want to fight Morrell. Why would he go back and fight Hot Rod next? I mean, the only way I could see this one being a possibility is if David's like, well, I'll knock this dude out where Hot Rod couldn't knock him out. That kind of mentality. But then again, then David's kind of placating to Morrell, and he's been avoiding Morrell. So I don't think Benavidez would fight Hot Rod. Then you got Anthony Yard. A possibility, you know, Anthony Yard is trying to make his move. back to the top. You know, he's avoided a couple guys, but I think he wants to get back into title contention at some point. And maybe a fight with a veteran like a Hot Rod would make a lot of sense for Anthony Yard. You know, I think it could be possible. Then you got Alexander Kalajdzic. Good matchup right here. Kalajdzic following the loss to David Benavidez, and he performed pretty much the way Hot Rod performed in that fight. He fought better than people are giving him credit for. I think it's a good crossroads fight. I think both these dudes are Eastern European fighters that went up against big dogs and didn't get obliterated, didn't get their asses whipped. They fought hard. They were in the fight. They made a good name for themselves. So now, how about a crossroads fight between two veterans, and Kalajdzic and Hot Rod? I think it makes a lot of sense. I could definitely see that one. Then veteran Joshua Buatsi. If he loses his next fight to Willie Hutchinson, then I'd say no. Why fight a guy like Hot Rod? If he beats Willie Hutchinson, I think he's on too high of a level then, because he's in line for a title shot. So I don't think Buatsi is going to be a possibility next, no matter what. Then you got Callum Smith, the veteran. I mean, I'd love to see Callum Smith come back, especially after the way he got his ass whipped against Beterbiev, and fight a guy like Hot Rod to kind of earn that title shot. But Callum Smith has not been interested in earning anything in the last couple of years. Even the two fights that he won at light heavyweight over a 2+ year span to become the mandatory challenger for Beterbiev, they were not top tier guys. You know, they were solid light heavyweights, but they weren't top tier guys to earn a mandatory position. And now he's already made it clear that he wants a title shot or a big fight, and Hot Rod is neither one of those. So I don't see Callum Smith fighting him. Then there's Willie Hutchinson, and Willie Hutchinson is fighting Joshua Buatsi next for the interim title. If he beats Buatsi, he's too big for Hot Rod at this point. It'd be a step back to fight Hot Rod. If he loses to him, maybe Hutchinson will throw his name back in the mix against a guy like Hot Rod. They're both kind of veterans, you know, and maybe a crossroads fight against two guys coming off a loss. It's kind of like what I was saying with Kalajdzic. Maybe it would be possible. Then there's Michael Eifert, the IBF mandatory challenger. I don't see him fighting a guy like Hot Rod. Like, he's already the mandatory challenger. I don't think he has to, but he has been waiting around for a while for that title shot, and it doesn't appear that that title shot's coming anytime soon, but I don't think he risk it against a guy like Hot Rod. Then there's Malik Zinad, who just in June fought Dimitri Bivol for the WBA title. And he got stopped in 6 rounds and everything. And, you know, I don't think anybody was kind of shocked by that. But Zinad took that fight on 6 weeks' notice after beating a undefeated top prospect on the rise in Papelbon. I think the guy's name was Papelbon. They fought, and he got a majority decision over 12 rounds. And then 6 weeks later, he's in a title fight with Bivol. People are discounting that, like not remembering that that's a fact. Based on it. And I love Bivol, and I don't want to knock him, but his only knockout since 2018, 2019 was against a dude who came in after fighting 12 hard rounds and getting his career best win 6 weeks prior. So what I'm saying with Malik Zinad is Zinad might want to get right back in the mix, and fighting a guy like Hot Rod could get him right back in the mix. So I think that's a fight that makes sense. Guys outside of the top 10, it's really kind of, it could be anybody. Albert Ramirez is an undefeated fighter, ranked highly in the WBA. Would he risk his position? I don't think so, to fight a guy like Hot Rod, but you never know. Dan Aziz is a guy who's number 5 in the WBA. He's coming off of a loss to Joshua Buatsi. Maybe he wants to give Hot Rod some love in kind of a crossroads fight to see who's going to move up the ladder. Adam Dines, former world champion, our former world title challenger. I don't think he would fight him, but you never know. Ali Ismailov is highly rated in the WBO and IBF. He might not want to risk his stuff by fighting a veteran, but then again, maybe he would. And then Connor Wallace, another guy who's ranked number 6 in the WBA. So, you know, I don't see that one, but you never know. So for Hot Rod, he really can do whatever he wants. Maybe he wants to get back in the mix before the end of the year, early January, shake off the loss to Morrell and stay active. But he's one of those guys that, like I said, he's a consummate gatekeeper type guy at this point, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can make good money doing that, and I think he's still a serious threat against somebody that wants to overlook him. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes down, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on former world title challenger Hot Rod Kalajdzic following his decision loss to David Morrell Jr. when they fought on the Riyadh Season Supercard on August 3rd. On the Crawford Madrimov undercard. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.